Okay, welcome everybody. As you know, if you joined the session already, we're part of the Alma Insights series, which is every Tuesday, once a month on different topics. And today we're on analytics data visualization in Alma and Primo. Data visualization, sometimes referred to as DV for short, data visualization, is available across all products on the Ex Libris higher education platform, which means that we're covering Alma, Primo, Leganto, Esploro, Rialto, not Primo Classic or Primo Back Office. It covers Primo V, and we're going to see some examples of that. Before we jump in, I want to point out where there's information about this that you can get on your own. So I'm going to first show the YouTube videos about data visualization, how to access them, and then some blogs about data visualization. So if you go to YouTube and you get to our channel, which I'm sure many of you are in any case subscribed to, and I say here Ex Libris Limited or just Ex Libris, I'll get several different Ex Librises, but we know which one is ours. This one here from the logo. This, for example, is not the Ex Libris we're talking about. And we go into our channel. So here we've got a search option. And if we come into the search option and we type, for example, data visualization, let me just spell that properly, visualization, okay? So that'll give us all these different recordings about data visualization. This creating a forecast, for example, is something we're going to be doing today. Using filters, we're going to be talking about the different filters. Usage and cost usage, we'll be looking at usage time permitted. So here you've got videos about all different aspects of the data visualization. That's one area. Just go into the YouTube channel and search for data visualization. Another option is in the developers network. There's a series of blogs here. I'm going to go into the blog where it says share blog. And here also I'll write data visualization. It looks like in the past I wrote it a couple of different ways. This one here looks like correct spelling. So here also we'll see a lot of different blogs about different functions in data visualization, such as how to use the functions, how to create a bar graph of platforms, the catalog, which we'll talk about today, using filters in the data visualization. So those are two sources that you can use on your own for the data visualization. And like I said, we're going to be showing today some examples in Alma and some examples in Primo. Now, some of these examples I've shown in the past, but I'm going to be showing them different today to point out some different options. And let's jump in already. I think that's enough of an introduction. And let's begin. So I'm in a regular standard Alma. It's if I come in and I look here, I'm in the August release. It's my demo environment, but it's not a special development area or something with functionality that I have and you don't have. So you'll be able to see the same exact things that I see here. Okay, so let's go. Here under analytics, we see that we have a link to data visualization and a link to data visualization Primo. The reason we have these links to data visualization as well as the designs analytics we've had since the beginning of Alma. And the reason we have now the links also to the data visualization and to the designs analytics, by the way, is because the user has a role which is called designs analytics. I'm going now into my user, and if I were to say add role, there's a role which is called designs analytics. And we see here that I have it, it's already checked. Any user who has the role designs analytics we'll see the links here not only to Designs Analytics, but also to the data visualization. So if you're looking on your own environment, which I assume you'll do after the session and not during, but whenever you do it, if you don't see the link to the data visualization right here, it's probably because you don't have the role. So you have to have the role to see it. Also, not every institution will see the Designs Analytics and data visualization for Primo. That you will see if you have Primo V. And you'll know you have Primo V, by the way, if you have this link to Discovery, or a couple of other ways you'll know if you have Primo V, but we'll save that for another time. So let's go into the data visualization. When we click this data visualization, a new tab opens up. Here we are. And this is the opening screen for the data visualization. You may see your screen slightly different than this screen for two reasons. Number one, it's bringing the previously created projects and data visualization. That what we make is called a project. So they appear here. In your institutions, you'll have the ones that you've created. And secondly, it's possible to customize to a certain degree this page. So let's begin. Let's create a project now, which is a forecast of the expenditures that an institution has or had for physical versus electronic material. Always a hot topic. And along the way, like I said, we're going to point out some different functionalities. So first of all, we already accessed the data visualization. We have here create on the top right, and we'll choose to create a project. In analytics, it's called an analysis. We do create analysis. In data visualization, we do create project. And once we've done create project, we can either choose a data set or a subject area. In this environment here, I don't have a data set. A data set is when we use an input file to create our own data set, which is kind of like a subject area. And then we have the subject areas. The subject areas here are the same subject areas we have in Alma Analytics. And here we're viewing them as a grid. We have two icons on the top right. This is viewing it as a grid. If we click the other icon, we view them all as a list. And if we're looking for a specific one, we can scroll through and look, or we can even just start typing. If I type EXP, I get all of the subject areas that include EXP somewhere in there, which is funds expenditures. Now I've got every one that includes an E, and if I say F, I get everything with an F, FUN, I've got everything with an FUN. So we'll choose the funds expenditures subject area. And now I want to create a project which is going to show the measures of the expenditures of physical material versus the expenditures of electronic material, and then create a forecast, a prediction. So a couple of ways this can be done. First of all, I can choose the fields I want. I'm going to use the control button right now. So I've got the electronic, and with my finger on the control button or control key, I'll choose the measure for the electronic for the physical format as well. And then I'll also choose the transaction date year. And then let's choose the year, and then I'll keep talking. Here we go. Now I want to take these 3 years and put them into a visualization of some sort. So if I right click now, it says pick visualization or create best visualization. I'll say pick visualization, and I'll choose to put it in a table for starters. Now I've got a table with the transaction date year and the expenditures for electronic format and for physical format. That's one way to do it. But I'm going to delete this visualization. I'm clicking the lines up on top here, the menu. Sometimes that icon is called a hamburger or a Hamburg. And I'm going to delete that visualization because I want to show another method. Another method is simply to start dragging in the fields. I'll drag in, for example, the transaction amount. I drag it in, and because it's a measure, it's a number, it automatically picks a visualization which is called a performance tile. But I can change that manually to something else, and I'll change it to a table. Then I'll continue adding the other fields. So I've got for electronic, I'll add for the physical, and I can drag it right into the canvas like I am now, or I'm going to delete it, or I could drag it right here. This is called the grammar panel. Drag it into the grammar panel and drop it in the rows. So I can drag it right into what's called the canvas. In our case, there happens to be a table there, or I can drop it right here in the grammar panel under the rows. Let's also go grab the year, transaction date year, and now we've got the year. I want to put the year all the way on the left, so I can drag it like this and drop it in the left, or let's put it back where it was. I can also move it around here in the grammar panel under the rows. I'll take the year and drag it to the top. So now I have a table with the transaction date year, the expenditure amount for physical format, the expenditure amount for, oh, I got physical twice, I see. I meant to do the electronic. So now we'll put the electronic instead of the physical. One option is to delete one of these physicals and replace it with the electronic, or I can just drop it right on top of an existing one, and it replaces it. So now I've got the transaction date year, the expenditure for the electronic, expenditure for the physical. Now, we're going to talk a lot today about different ways to do filters, because there's all different ways depending on your ultimate goal, also depending on the type of field. What's the word? The method of doing a filter, for example, on a measure is different than doing it on an attribute. When I say attribute, I mean like library name, user group. When I say measure, I mean number of loans, expenditure amount. So we're going to look at a couple of different ways. Date is also one that can be done differently. So for the transaction date year, let's say I want to go 10 years back and not include the current year, because I don't want to include the current year because it's not complete. So if I'm making a graph and I'm including how the expenditures changed, if I include a year which is only partial, it'll throw off the whole graph. So I don't want 2021, and I want from 10 years back, so I'm going to take 2009 before that and get rid of it. So one option to do a filter like that is to drag the transaction date year to the top where it says drop here to add a filter. And then I can start getting rid of, exclude the ones I don't want, or include only the ones I do want. So I'll say I want 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, etc., up to and including 2020. That's one way to do it. I dragged the field up to the top where we can do the filters, and I hard-coded the years. However, that would mean that next year I need to come and change this. So another way to do it is to make an expression, an SQL style expression. So I'm going to delete this filter so I can do it again to show how we can do that with an SQL expression. And I'll delete this one. So I'm clicking the little arrow here, right there, and I'll say delete. Now I'll add an expression filter. So here I've got filters. I'm on the bottom of the grammar panel. And I'll click filters and add expression filter. So what do I want here? Let's go to the fields I want, the transaction date. One way is to say I want the year of the transaction date. I start typing it, it starts looking for it, and search in progress. I'll make it even more specific, transaction date, or let's even do it. There we are, transaction date. This is what I talked at the beginning. So now I've got the year of the transaction date. And I'll say, I want that between, now this isn't a lesson on how to, the syntax of SQLs. The point here is, and many of you I know from your analytics reports know how to write these expressions, but the goal right now is not teaching the syntax of an SQL, but rather the fact that you can use an SQL expression as a filter. So I'll say, I want that between 11 years ago and 1 year ago. So 11 years ago, I'll say I want it between the year, and that'll be timestamp add SQL TSI year minus 11 from the current date. And I need 2 closing parentheses there because I have one open there, one open there. Let me copy that for the next one. And then I'll say, and 1 year ago, there. Now, purposely, I'm going to make an error here. I'm going to forget, for example, to close one of these parentheses. And then I say validate. Before doing the apply here, I'll validate. I'll make sure my expression is correct. Tells me it's wrong, so now I know there's something wrong. I'll fix it. Validate again. Nice. Now it's validated. Apply. Now watch what's going to happen. You can see in the back there, I have year 2003 is the first one. On the bottom, I've got, oh, you can see now 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc. I'm going to apply the expression. And there we go. Now I've got between 1 year ago and 10 years ago. But this is just the beginning. So let me first of all save this. So I'm going to click save here. And let me save this just so we can see something later. I'm going to save this in the community because I want to show something later. Community reports, and I'll save it under shared reports. I'll delete it later so I don't make a mess here. I'll put it under analytics working group. Let's remember that's where we put it. And I'll call it P&E expenditures with forecast. Okay. And you'll excuse my atrocious spelling, expenditures. There we go. Okay, now let's add a line graph. By the way, we could format in many different ways this table as well. While I've got this table formatted, you can see that on the top, it includes the measures that are in it. And I can change that. I can change the font of it. I can change what appears there. As you see, when I'm clicking in the table on the bottom left here, I've got all kinds of information about this. I can say, for example, the title, I don't want the title to be automatic. I can custom it and say, the afternoon Alma Insights session, for example. And then instead of the auto title font, I'll change that to bold, and I'll make it Tahoma bold. And then I can say, for example, that I want the background to be customized, and I'll make the color yellow. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so now I've just changed around the table. After all that work, but I don't want a table. I'm going to change it to a line graph. By the way, we can have a table and a line graph. In fact, let's do that. Instead of changing it, here I can say give me a line graph. And now I got a line graph. Or I could have taken the table. I'm back to the table. And you see what happened here? It put that inside the color. We'll just put that back where we want it. I can duplicate this. So I'll say edit, duplicate. How did I get there? I click the menu option here, which is from the hamburger, or I could have just right clicked and done edit. So it's either the menu or the edit, and then duplicate visualization. Now I have two visualizations. I'm going to get rid of now this data panel here. In fact, I want to put back the background so I can read this a little more nice, a little nicer. I'll make that auto. I'll make this one auto. Actually, you know what? I'll leave the table that color. This one here, I will make a line graph. So here we'll say change visualization. You see I'm clicking the change visualization icon on the top table. And I'll say, give me a line graph. And now I've got the line graph. But I don't want the line graph like that. Let's play around a bit. So this part here is called the data panel. I'm going to get rid of it so I have more room on the screen. So I can get rid of it either by dragging it all the way like that, or on the bottom right here, I have toggle data panel. I hope you can see all the way on the bottom right in the WebEx. I click that, and now I've got the data panel is there. I click it again, the data panel is gone. I'm going to get rid of this bottom visualization so we got a little more room. Remove, delete visualization right here. Okay, now on the top, delete visualization. On the top, let's play around with this. This isn't really how we want our visualization to appear. Right now, what it's doing is putting all of the measures together by year. And we don't want it all together. We want a color for physical, a color for electronic, and then we can compare them. So let's play around here a little bit. The x-axis, the one going across, that's correct. We do want the date. But we want both measures across the y-axis. So now I've got, this is the electronic, excuse me, that's the physical. This is the electronic. I'm going to drag that up. And now we got both of them in the y-axis. Another thing we can change here, by the way, you see on the bottom, we have the legend. It says which is physical and which is electronic. The green is the physical. We could play around with that as well inside the data panel, like we played around with the table. So here I could say I want the legend on the left, for example, but I actually want it on the bottom or even the top, but I don't want it on the left because I want to have maximum length, maximum length for the line graph. So now we see something very typical here. I got rid of the data panel and the grammar panel. We see something very typical here. We see that the expenditures went from the electronic being more, the physical being more than the electronic up until somewhere between 2013, 2014. Then we had that crossover, and then the physical was down below. It was less than the electronic, and it kind of flattened out. And now we want to do a forecast. So to do a forecast, there's a couple of different ways. We can go into the edit and add statistics and forecast. So we did menu here, menu, add statistics, forecast. And that can also be done by doing a right click, add statistics, forecast. So now it's adding a forecast. You see a blue line moving across the top, and we're going to see something that happens here. The forecasts that we use in the data visualization are of three types: ARIMA, ARIMA seasonal, and ETS. Let's take a look at what happened here. This is the forecast. It says the electronic is going to slightly decrease. You see it going down. And it says the physical is going to go way down, off the charts. We can't even see it. If we look at the data panel now, let's toggle that data panel. We see that it's using this one here called seasonal ARIMA for 3 periods. I'm going to change this to 6 periods. I'm going to talk about the ARIMA in a minute. If I go into Google and I say ARIMA ETS forecast, so we got a full description of these. These are not ex Libris inventions. They're not even Oracle inventions. They're known in the data analysis world even before big data was around, or let's say before we called big data big data. It's been around for a while, and there's all kinds of algorithms of exactly how it's done. If somebody's interested, they can come in here and see. But it's not an invention of Ex Libris, and we don't write the algorithm. We're using it from the data visualization. So now I've got 6 periods on seasonal ARIMA, and I can see the next 3 years. I'm going to change it. Instead of seasonal ARIMA on the left here, I'm just going to choose ARIMA. By the way, my favorite is the ETS. So now we're going to see what is just the ARIMA. Seasonal ARIMA we already saw here. It's slightly going down on the electronic and it's going way down on the physical. And now what happened? Now we're on the ARIMA. We see the electronic goes way up and the physical goes way down. Now let's try the ETS. Now the ETS is working. You can see on top here there's a blue line. That blue line is moving across. There we go. So here's the ETS. According to the ETS, the electronic, the blue, will continue the same way, and the physical is going to go down gradually, but it's going to go down. So that covers what I wanted to show here. We're going to look at some more examples. I saw that a chat came in. Let me take a look at it. Not a question, but thank you so much for including color coding in the SQL text box. This is so helpful for folks who don't do this very often or are new to it. Yeah, all of that that color coding, by the way, that exists. We didn't add it, by the way. Thanks for the thank you, but we can't take credit for it. That's built into this color coding is what the person's talking about. That's in all of the modern softwares, even Notepad and things. Notepad++, excuse me. I was once explaining, by the way, excuse me for going off on a small tangent, but I was explaining to younger programmers about the fact that, now they type in a code that's inside a pre-made box that helps them out, and if you're missing a parentheses, it tells you and all that. In the olden days, I'm sure many of you remember, none of that existed, and until you found your error, it could take you a while. If you were on a Unix writing some kind of a script, for example, good luck. But in any case, yes, we like it as well, the color coding. Let's see if there's one before that. No. Okay. So I'm going to move on to another example here. And in this example, let's look at some platforms, some usage. So I will stay exactly where I am here and in the same environment and do a new project. So there's 2 ways now when I've got this already open, let me finish that save, to do a new project. But before I do a new project, I want to show something. If I go into analytics now, analytics, design analytics, now we're going to discuss very briefly what we call the catalog and navigation. So I'm in analytics now. I'm not in data visualization. I click the link to analytics. You see the screen is analytics. And if I go to catalog and I go to the community folder, let's go right to the community and reports. And Where did we save that? I forgot already. Shared reports, analytics working group, I believe it was. There we are. Great. So you see here, the analytics reports are these here with the icon that looks like an analysis. And then we see these with the 4 dots, which is a data visualization. Now, just like if you were on your PC, on your computer, and you were in Windows Explorer, and you clicked a PowerPoint file so it would open in PowerPoint. And if you clicked an Excel sheet, it would open in Excel. A TXT file, it would open in Notepad unless you define something different. So here too, if I click open on a analytics report, well, then the analytics report opens. And if I click open on a data visualization project, then it opens in data visualization. So I can use the same catalog to navigate through all of the reports and projects, and depending on which kind of project it is, it'll open either in analytics or in data visualization. Same thing here. I'm going to go to the Hamburg inside data visualization, and I'll go to catalog. And same thing here, if I go into shared folders and into the community and into reports. So here too, I'll see, let's go into shared reports. So I'll see here, what were we in? Analytics something or other? Here we are. So here too, I see the analytics reports, and I see, let me make that a little smaller so it's all on the screen. I see the analytics reports, and I see the data visualizations. So that's a data visualization, that's an analytics report. And depending on how I want to, let me put that in a list. Depending on what I want to do, I'll click on whichever one and it'll open in whatever it should open in. I clicked an analytics one, it opens in analytics, for example. Okay, so now we want to create a new project. So I will go back to the project we had here. And one way to create a new project is I clicked the menu on the top right here, and then I have create new project. Another way is to go home, home being I'm going to click the navigator icon in the top left, those 3 lines, and go home. And then that's the same screen I was on previously when we first went into data visualization. So here I'll say create a project. I'm going to go a little faster now because we already got the point from what we did a moment ago. And in the subject areas now, I'll choose usage data. And we're not going to give a lesson here on counter reports and everything, but I'm making a report here using the measures and attributes that are coming from the counter report usage data. I'm in the usage data subject area. Under usage data details release 5, let's take one of these measures. Let's take the PR total item requests. And even though I said it's not going to be a session on counter, let's just say if I came into here and I said I want to look for what is a PR total item request, I probably should have put in counter, but I'm here without even, here we are, PR showing total unique and item requests. So I could come here. This is from the project counter site. And here we are. So you can start reading through here and get an explanation of what the measure is. So I've got a measure. And then let's put in the platform because I have the platform request. And then I'm going to say, give me the actual platform. Now I can't drag in the platform to this because it's a performance tile. I don't see now the grammar panel. Who remembers how I can see the grammar panel now? Let me go to the participants. Send in a chat if you remember what I can do to view the missing grammar panel. Let's take a look. Anybody? That's right. Okay, somebody sent it in. Toggle the grammar panel. So on the bottom, I'm going to click the toggle data panel. Now I've got the data panel as well. If I try to drag in this platform, it put it all in different ways. It's not, I can't really see the platform by the, I could if I really looked closely there, but I want to see it in a nice organized way. So I'm going to change this instead of to the auto visualization to a table. Now I've got the number of requests and the platform. By the way, I could also get that by usage date, and I'll say usage date year. Usage date year, I will say, is 2020. Let's take 2020. Now, let's see different ways to filter by the measure, which is the total item requests. So I'll take the total item requests, drag it to the top here, and now I can do a filter on it. And let's say I want only those between 100 and 10,000. So I can do a range here and say I want between 100 and 10, 1, 2, 3, enter. And now it's going to do the filter. You can see the blue line moving on top. There we go. So now I only have ones between 100 and 10,000. Another way that I can do a filter when we're talking about a measure is by top or bottom, like the top 100, the top 10, the bottom 5, etc. So here in the measure, I'll click the down arrow there where it says menu. And now I'll change the filter type. Instead of a range, which is the default, I'll change it to the top, bottom, N. Boom. And it's defaulting to the top 10. I could click top and get the bottom 10. Go back to top. I could say I want the top 100, the top 20. Let's get the top 20. Enter. So now I got the top 20. Let's see now, what does data visualization recommend here for me to display this? Instead of me saying, oh, this would look nice as a line graph, this would look nice as a stacked horizontal bar, or whatever. We've got a wide variety of here. I know a map wouldn't be good here. I don't have anything geographic. A donut won't be good, but we're going to do a donut later. In fact, I got to get moving here so we get some more examples going. But if I click here, what looks like a magic wand, like the fairy holding a magic wand here, and I click auto visualization, it chooses a bar. Okay, I would have chosen a bar as well. So it chose a bar graph. Then I can sort this, high to low, low to high, alphabetical by platform. I see it is already alphabetical by platform by default. Nature is at the end because that's lowercase. All of these are uppercase. But if I right click and say sort, then I can sort by high to low, low to high. Let's do high to low. Nice. And let's save this one as well. Save, and I will save this in my folders this time. And I'll call this oops, what did I do there? Sorry, I think I opened the wrong thing. There we are. Platform usage. Okay. For previous year. Save. Okay, and like before when we played around with the table, I can also play around here. You see on the bottom left here, while I'm focused on that chart on the bar graph, I can change things here. I can change the background, the legend labels, legend title font, the title font, the different axes I can play around with. So instead of it saying platform there, I can change that. Measures, data labels font. Let's go to data labels. Instead of off, I'll choose it to above. Data labels above, and now I can see the actual number next to each one. It's really not necessary in something like this. I just want to show that it's possible. Then we can do top here. We don't see it here because it's too high up. Above, we already did center. Let's leave it back at auto, or excuse me, off, because we really don't need it. Our point here is to see who's the highest, how does it come down, etc. So now we've got, let's just do tooltip number format. Number, okay. So those are the different ways. Here we got a tooltip here with the number. These are the ways that we can display a bar graph and a measure. We saw that there's two different ways to do the filter. We dragged it to the top and did it by a range. The filter on a measure, I should specify. And another time we dragged it to the top and did it by is in top, and we chose top 20. Let's do a slightly different one. I'm just going to go back to the catalog here. I'll save that. Okay. Back to the catalog where I saved that. So here we're in catalog, we're in shared folders. We saved that previously under community, reports, shared reports. I believe it was the analytics working group. There we are. And this is the one we saved. And I'm going to click here and let's say, it's in the community. In the community, as you know, we need to do delete object and then it deletes. So I'll take care of that later. I'm not going to delete it here now. By the way, there's another option here. We could say more permissions, but this is just a little bit on the side. If you ever make one for yourself and want to delete it before the synchronizations on Friday, I'm just going to change this to full control, and then I can say more and delete. Just so I keep this clean, I don't want the stuff I put in there to remain. Okay, let's move on now to Primo. Let me just see if we got any questions there. Someone asked, why do you prefer ETS? Do you suggest using ETS? Okay, I prefer ETS because whenever I look at the results of the predictions, it always seems much more logical, the ETS. The one, when we did the ARIMA, you saw the physical just dropped drastically. I don't think that's a logical scenario, that the physical is going to drop so drastically, but you can use whatever you think is best. I happen to think the ETS looks more logical. But who am I to argue with the algorithms of the mathematicians? Okay, Primo. So let's do something nice here. I mean, everything we've done, I hope you'll think is nice until now, but let's try this. I'm going to go now into analytics and data visualization Primo. And I'm going to make a map visualization. I'm going to try to do this quick because I really want to show a donut later on something else. And we'll say create project. And I've shown this one before. You may have seen it in a different session, but I'm going to show different ways of doing it. So it's not a repeat. Within the subject areas, we see the Primo subject areas, and I'm going to take the Primo sessions. Add to project. Within the Primo sessions, let me show you something on the side here. The best way, when we have very, very large measures, if I were, this is just a tip, if I were to drag in the sessions, it might either take a very long time or time out. It didn't time out. But in any case, the most efficient way of using very, very large measures, I'm going to get rid of that one, is first to filter by the time period. So under dates, I'm going to filter by the year. I'm dragging it to the top, and I'll say I want 2020, 2021, and 2019. Then if I drag in the sessions, it's already working on a smaller set. It's much quicker. Just a little tip on the side. First put in the filters, and then start dragging in the measures. Okay, now among those sessions, I want to know from where have people accessed my discovery. So I got user country locations, and I'm going to drag in the country. But first, let's put that in a table. So I'll change this instead of to the performance tile to a table, and then we'll drag in the country. So now I have all of the countries, all of the sessions. And let's see who are the big ones. To see who are the big ones, I will sort this descending, high to low. All I did is click on the title, the column header, excuse me, got 2 arrows, and I'll choose the high to low. Now, the United States is way highest because I'm a United States environment here. And so I can get rid of that one. Now, one way we can filter that we haven't done yet is simply to right-click it and say Remove Selected. Instead of dragging the country to the top, to the filter section, and then saying Exclude United States, from right here, I can right-click it, Remove Selected. It automatically makes a filter on top with United States excluded. Then let's take the sessions and say I only want ones above 100. Because if we'll see here on the bottom, we have what's called a long tail. A lot of them, Liechtenstein once, Tonga 3 times, Tajikistan 3 times. Let's say I want only those 100 or more. So I'll take the sessions, drag it up on top, and now I can use the range again. And I'll say I want it to start at 100 and finish at the maximum. Right now it's defaulting to minimum and maximum. And you'll see if we wait for this to finish, this blue line moving across, we can even drag parts of the ranges. But I'll say here I want 100, enter. So now it's greater than 100. It's only ones that are greater than 100. So if I come now to the bottom, it's 100. Armenia, 100, followed by Denmark. Now, let's put this in a map, and I'm going to speed it up a tad because there's something else I really want to show. I'm going to change this to a map. And now I have a map of all the different places that accessed my discovery. Let's duplicate this one. Edit, duplicate. I'm going to make this one a table again. Here I'm going to click the change visualization type, a table. So here, let's get rid of the grammar panel. Let's get rid of the data panel. So here in the map, I will change. Let's just take this table here. Actually, we'll leave the table. It's kind of like a heat map where the darker the color, the higher the number. Let's get rid of this one so we have more room. Okay, so now I can start focusing in. I see that Canada is very high. I see a very dark one right here. Korea, 13,000. And I can start focusing in on certain areas. I can drag this around. Using my mouse, I'm scrolling in. Now I can focus in, for example, on Western Europe. I'm focusing in on Western Europe. I see the big ones are Germany, UK, followed by France, Spain. Portugal's a much lighter color. It's significantly lower. Here we are down at the boot of Italy. Italy is also a big one. And then I can go into all different kinds of areas. Let's go into South America. Brazil's very big. Here we get nothing. Here we get nothing. Argentina, etc. So that's the map here. And I can take this. Well, we'll show how to share this in a moment. I see a question came in. Let me take a look. Can the maps be changed to different projections? I'm not sure. What do you mean by different projections? If you want to clarify, different projections. We can play around with how it's displayed, just like the way we changed how it's displayed when we had the table and things. So here also, I can go into here and play around all the different ways. Here's the map. Zoom control is off. I can say zoom control is on. Now I've got a plus here. So instead of using my mouse, I can use this zoom control. That's actually pretty nice. Autofocus on data I can have on. So there's all different ways I can play around with it. I can change the scale. Now I've got a scale here. So there's different ways I can play around. Let's see if there was an answer there. Different map displays, so the distortions of places like Iceland and Africa are different. Not that I know of. Can we click on each country and to display another visualization on the country? Not that I'm aware of. If you mean like click on America, the United States, and then see by state, I'm not aware of a method to do that. Okay, let me go on. So let's show one more. We got 8 minutes, and there's something I want to show about having two different visualizations, each using different fields. So let's do another one here. Let's say create a new project. And this time, let's go into the device usage. Let's say I want to see now what kind of devices are people using to access my discovery so that I can perhaps redesign my discovery in such a way that will be appropriate or adaptable for those devices. If I want, for example, to change it around, I want to make sure that it's good for an iPhone if an iPhone is what's being used. So let's say I want, first of all, I'm going to get the dates following my statement before that. First, I'm going to filter by the date. So I'll say 2020, 2021, 2019. And then under device usage, I'll put in the number of sessions. I'm going a little faster than I did last time because now we're already pros at all of this. I'll change this to a table. And now I'll also add the actual device. So now I've got the device and the sessions. Now, a laptop PC, we know that's the big one, 3 million. I'll remove that one. The iPod, the WinPhone, the BlackBerry. BlackBerry. Someone has searched the discovery with a BlackBerry. So I can get rid of these as well. iPhone we want, iPad we don't want. iPod, BlackBerry, because those are so small, it's not even taking into account. So we have Android, iPad, and iPhone. And let's say we want to know, are these changing? Perhaps people used to use the iPad a lot, but now it's all now it's all Android and iPhone. So I can drag in the year and the month. And we have different months. I'll drag in the month number so that we have it in numerical order. But from here, I really can't see if this changes. But I can make this a line graph. And then on the line graph, I'll be able to see. But I need to change this around a bit. Let's get the grammar panel again open. On the bottom right, I'm going to toggle the grammar panel. And now we've got all of the sessions, and in our x-axis, that's not really what we want. We've got the year, the month, and then the device. The device we actually want in the color, for example. Let's put the device in the color. Nice. So now we have each of the devices. Let's put the legend on the left. So we have more up and down space on the devices. So on the left here, I'll say, while that's there, I'll say I want the legend on the left. Okay, so I see that they're all following the same trend. The iPhone is always the highest. More people are searching on an iPhone than an iPad and an Android. But they're all following the same pattern. They go up all here, they all come down here, they all come up here. Here's right around the big Corona time. This is when all foreign travel cut. March 2020, I know that was the big time, no more travel. There we go, it stayed low. Then people kind of got used to the new normal. They started searching again, but not like the previous year. Anyway, so now we've got a line graph. And we see the trends, and we know that we need to make sure all three of them are accounted for. If we're redesigning our discovery, we want to test it using these devices. But I can't see from here. I see that the iPhone is more, but is it 50% against 25% of all the others? Is it 75% against 12.5% and 12.5% of the others? So let's duplicate this and make what's called a donut. So we'll duplicate this one. I'll right click, edit, duplicate visualization. And in this one, we'll make it a donut. So I'll click here where it's change visualization type. And we'll choose a donut. There we go, donut. And let's put them side by side. I'm going to get rid of the data panel. And this I'll drag to the left. I'm just taking it, moving my mouse and dragging it to the left. Wait a minute. I think I got bad resolution here to drag it. Let's say here on the one on top, the donut. We don't need in this donut the year and the month, but we do want to keep the year and the month here on the one on the bottom. Oh, I see what happened. Let me move that and I'll see why I didn't drag it before. I'm going to put it back. My mouse, you need to have the mouse on the top where it changed. I don't know if you can see my mouse patterns, but the mouse pattern changes. It's like 4 arrows. So then I'm going to drag it to the left. Okay, so now I've got a donut here, but in this donut, I don't want the year and the month. So here, for the donut, in the data panel, in the grammar panel, I will remove the year. You see in the category, I'm clicking the X next to the year. And now I'll click the X next to the month. It remains here on the right. It remains, I got the year and the month for the line graph, but for the sessions by device for the donut, I don't have it. And then when I click part of here, you see it highlighted that part in the line graph. If I click here on the 25.57 Android, then it highlighted that part in the line graph. So it's interactive going back and forth. And that brings us to 16:59 local time, which is giving us 1 minute or less. Let's see if there's any more chats that I didn't get. Nope, I think I got them all. So thanks everybody for joining us. We will be sending out a message when the recording is ready. And let me just give a small plug here. If you go to Google and just write education, Ex Libris education webinars, you'll be directed directly to our customer education webinar screen. And this is where you can sign up for all of the presentations. And in the on-demand, you can view the recordings, and we will be sending that recording out shortly. Thanks a lot, everybody, and we'll see you in our next sessions. It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.